let's look ahead to the week ahead now. And of course, we've got a lot of inflation data, jobs data in the US as well. Peter Mcguire from XM joining me to get across the details. Peter, we have been on a little bit of a break. What have we missed? Catch us up to speed.
Well, good morning, Juliette. Happy New Year. Lovely to see you. I tell you what, it's been an electric couple of days over that Christmas break, or certainly the markets haven't slept. They've been as exciting as ever. US dollar's really taken a rally up, and it broke that 109 handle. It really had a lot of strong momentum. You mentioned as far as US equities and the Santa Claus rally not materialising, but it bounced again, over Friday night, which was relatively strong. Markets have been very dynamic. Bitcoin, as you said, nearly back at 100. Crude's up. Gold sitting, 26.50. But I think there's further upside. So, yeah, strap yourself in. I think I'm front row at the Pointer Sisters. I'm so excited. It's going to be a great year.
I'm so excited. Love that song. All right, well, let's drill down into the details in terms of course, meant to be a great year. It's all going to be data dependent, as we know, from the Fed and the RBA. We've got non-farm payrolls in the US this week and the Fed meeting minutes. Also, a lot of speakers this week too.
Absolutely, yeah. It's starting back up. You've got a big day, of course, with the Electoral College and everything starting on the 6th of January. So there's the first part of it as far as Washington, and then that rolls across for the rest of the week. As you said, non-farm payrolls. I want to see those numbers. I want to see whether there's continued uplift, because it's a wonderful barometer as far as economic health, considering, you're leading into that Christmas period. So it's up until the middle of December. And then we need to see inflation and the speakers from the Fed and the overall theme as they, I suppose, inhale how everything's going to roll with a new president and a new administration come 2 weeks today.
So when that is all being priced in, it really does look like King Dollar still flexing its muscles here, Peter.
Absolutely. I think a 110 handle's achievable. For all the viewers out there that haven't been watching currency markets, we're at 62.11 for the Aussie. And I know that we was down in the high 61s. Many traders are saying, are you going to see 58 as the new benchmark sometime over the next month or two? So I think the overall momentum is going to be stronger dollar. And President Trump has said that. He really is a stickler for the mighty US dollar, Juliette. So again, I don't think he's going to be challenged too much from China. They've got their own problems, and it's I think dollar's the place to be.
So when we look at dollar being the place to be, what are we expecting though with the euro, and I guess what the CPI means in terms of potentially euro dollar coming closer to parity?
Yeah, I think parity's got to be at, we were in that 102.50 sort of handle. You're just over 103 at the moment. So there's the chart, tells a story. It's been a dynamic trade to be short over the last couple of months, euro and, of course, strong dollar. So keep an eye on where the economic health of Germany is absolutely cratering. So that's the economic powerhouse of Europe. So we've just got to see whether we see sub-parity. And there's even talk of that trading in the 98s, 99 sort of handle. So, it's a dynamic market to be a part of at the moment, because the opportunities, I think, will continue, Juliette.
You touched on where our dollar is, Peter, and of course there is a lot of momentum building. Perhaps it's not going to be a great 2025 for the Aussie. We've got CPI on tap this week. We're awaiting the RBA returning next month. What are you seeing in terms of the local data points and, of course, where the Aussie trades?
Well, I want to keep an eye on that, Juliette. All the data, you're waiting for those, for the numbers to drop, and you've got to analyse the numbers, and that tells the story. And, until they drop, we can speculate as far as whether the Aussie's going to bounce to the upside or continue downdraft, but we're dependent upon those numbers. We want to see how, the lead up to Christmas sales were. We want to see the jobs numbers. We want to see the overall, I suppose, the economic health of the nation. And that tells a story, and whether we are going to see a bounce in 25 or we're going to see continued softness. We've got a relatively strong Aussie market in the sense of the equity market. So is that going to continue an uptick, or are we going to take a breather? So we just keep our eyes focused on it, Juliette.
Indeed. And what about looking at the yen as well? Japan's wages data on tap this week.
Yeah, you're running at that 157.25 sort of handle, yen versus US dollar. I wouldn't be surprised, some form of intervention. I feel as though you probably see a rate hike from the Japs when there's talk it could even be this month. We're just sitting on our hands waiting for that to drop. But if that yen gets up around that 159, 160 handle, which is every chance it could, Juliette, then I wouldn't be surprised some form of intervention from the Bank of Japan. We're all sitting here. It's been, again, a dynamic market to be a part of. The yen has been, I mean, the euro was dynamic, but the yen puts it to sleep because the yen has just been absolutely outstanding as far as a trade for 24.
Now, you touched on looking ahead to the January 20 inauguration. We've all been sitting here as Bitcoin bulls, but we're holding around 97, 98,000 at the moment. Is the FOMO trade going to push it higher, or what's the sort of technicals showing us for Bitcoin?
I think a couple of things. First off, we can't underestimate President Trump and because he's so unorthodox, and that seems to be the catalyst that's going to drive, I think, prices higher. Many are saying 125 is the new, the target where we need to be, and this is US dollars, where that needs to be across that sort of mindset. The charts, there it is. I mean, there's, I think, further upside in the short term leading into January 20. And then after that, Juliette, what happens as far as the likes of XRP? Do they all take a rally to the upside? I feel as though that seems to be the general momentum, and that's the story that I'm looking at. And I don't think it's going to disappoint as far as opportunity in 25.
And when we look at opportunity, just flipping back to some stocks potentially, if 2024 was all about the Magnificent Seven, some people say 2025 will be about the Magnificent 493. What happens with Tesla, Peter?
Well, I tell you, I mean, that's been a market. I listened to Elon and his strategy, his numbers, what his forecast is. It has been very, very choppy. There it is. It's bounced, and that 8.22% is just enormous. You can't underestimate him. I mean, it's well back from its highs, but it's up. It's moving to the upside. So yes, it could be a time. You've got to keep an eye also on the Russell 2000. I feel as though that's really been the sleeper that's it's woken up from its deep slumber in the last couple of months, Juliette. So that's really, the 493 plus the other, 2000 that make up that Russell 2000, those small stocks in the States or smaller company and enterprises, they're the ones to keep an eye on because they were really probably oversold. And as we know, they bounce strongly to the upside when they move.